Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I got something very special for you. It's going to be an insanely broken Xiangjian FTK combo, and the reason why I consider it super broken, it's going to be insanely consistent, but I'm going to go break it down for you guys. It's basically a 2-card FTK, and the reason why I say it's basically 2, you may need another card to just special summon, but that's super easy. The 2 any card combo that allows you to do this is pretty much just either Xiangjian card, the one that lets you add, or the other Xiangjian that lets you target one and reborn it. So you need just basically this and some way to get into the water Xiangjian, either itself or the card that searches it, or the card that can actually just tribute and go right into it. So there are multiple different FTKs which just involve 2 cards. So this one over here is the one where as the quick effect, you contribute to special summon a Xiangjian, which goes into this. So it's insanely consistent to pull this off. It's not like it's a weird deck. At the end of the day, it's still Xiangjians, but plus 1 card. You only need to main deck 1 weird card that you normally wouldn't play in Xiangjians, but this is why it's so good. So basically, you do the standard bread and butter combo. You go Mo Yi, which is the water one, right into the Qi Zhao, which is the next synchro monster. This card will let you search out and go for an additional draw with this effect, but the other searcher card you're going to be adding is either the Dragon Sword Appears or the Grand Spiritual Peak. It's either one. Whatever one you don't have is going to be the one that you go for. Then you're going to go search out any other card that can special summon itself, or a worm monster would be ideal here. So you can go for Arch Nemesis, or you can go into the Long Wand. So either one is going to be your option for this. We're going to go summon the Long Wand. This one will bring the Xiangjian Tai A right back onto the board, because you do also have that Foolish effect. And then you can go into it pretty much whatever you want to. It's just going to be, it's just the math mech here. It does have an effect where you can target 2 cards, but it doesn't really matter here. We're gonna go right into Bish Balkan. Bish Balkan will then go activate its effect to go summon a bunch of tokens, and then that's gonna be on both players' boards. So you can use that, and you can go right into the Garden Rose Maiden. So here's the one card that you would play that's obscure, but if you draw it, it's not that big of a deal. You can actually just skip this step, and you can actually make something else, but go for Black Garden if you don't have it. And then you go into the Chronomaly number 33 and go make a Linkuriboh, and you're going to give them those tokens. And then now, with every time you summon, you're going to give your opponent a token. This card gains 1,000 attack for the tokens on the board. So that's how you're able to change it. Now we're going to make the Geonator Transverser. So this is going to swap the monsters. The zones do matter for where you do summon this card, but you make this card and you swap a token with this, and because this card's original attack is 0 and it's increased to 8,000, number 33 is actually going to burn your opponent for 8,000 damage. It's a GG no Re, and then you have your FTK. Now, like I said, it's super consistent to pull off. All you need to have for this is any Xiangjian that can go into water, plus either one of these cards. And keep in mind, the Xiangjian archetype, when you go for the first play, you can search off this card anyways. That's why it's super broken, because not only is the deck already considered to be pretty good in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, it definitely has potential to be one of the best decks, and we're not even maybe done with the support yet. They might release some more, but really what it comes down to is just being able to pull off this combo. And you could still run Arch Nemesis Protos just for another card if you want to. It has a pretty decent effect. You get to pop all those monsters. It could be Jester Confit. It doesn't really matter what this card is. It just happens to be a worm that you can special summon. But it could literally be any card that can be special summoned. So it's kind of up to you. It's basically, like I said, it's a 2-card FTK at the end of the day. In most circumstances, it's going to be really consistent. Once again, to pull this off, you go for the combo with the Black Garden, you swap Reno them, and then your opponent is just going to say, wow, that's broken, that's unfair, and that is going to go ahead and be the gist of it. But I also want to give you guys the deck profile, because like I said, there's only one strange card that you would normally play, and then you could still play the deck like you normally would with the Baroness du Fleur. So in the off chance that you do want to actually learn this deck, I'm going to link a video down below that also shows off gameplay of a regular one, which is basically just the Xiangjians, as they are already good. It's a 1-card double synchro play, but if you go first, you might as well attempt to FTK them. So big shout out to YuGiOh for hooking me up with the gameplay as well as creating this deck, as I think it's really awesome, and I'll link him down below. But this is his build over here, so credits to him for this one. So like I said, the only strange card is this. Other than that, it's pretty much just a standard like Xiangjian deck. You can still play your hand traps. The extra deck obviously has to be modified a little bit, but you still have room to put in like your Boxia and your other cards that you would normally play in the deck. But anyways, with the deck profile over here, here's what we got. So Nibiru, Artemis Protoss, or literally it could be any card to special summon it. Technically, with Long Wand, this can also be a card that you can search out for if you don't happen to have one of these cards. I mean, this one lets you add one of the Xiangjian cards. And on top of that, remember that the Xiangjian that you're going to be going for immediately, once this card is summoned, you get to either banish one from your deck, or you get to banish one Xiangjian card or one war monster from your hand or graveyard, and then you also get to target a monster in the field and negate its effect. But this one lets you add to your hand any Xiangjian card with the first part of the effect, which is good, as long as it gets synchro summoned, which is awesome. But yeah, we got the Nibiru, double copy of Protoss, and then 2 copies of the Xiangjian Swordmaster. I know in the top it says Swordmaster of the Bewitching Iris, but they changed the name to Xiangjian, which makes it part of the archetype. This is actually kind of like a hand trap as well. Obviously, we didn't even have an opponent here, so it didn't matter. But this card is definitely pretty good too, because it can facilitate the other card that you would search out for to special summon. Like I said, it's basically a 2-card FTK, but you do need one more card to special summon it. But it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. And on top of that, it could be anything that just gives you an additional summon. And then we have the Jun, and then we have 3 copies of Long Wand, and then we got 3 copies of Tai A, and then 3 copies of Mo Yi, and 3 copies of the Excelsior, the Virtuous in White. This can be this as well. Again, it's either you go for this card, or you go for this card to go into this card, or you can just add either one to go into whatever. So it's a pretty consistent combo. And then we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 1 copy of Ghost Spell, 1 Instant Fusion, 2 copies of Desires, 3 copies of the Dragon Sword, and then 3 copies of the Grand Spiritual Peaks. Again, you need either one of these and then one of these monsters pretty much to pull off the FTK, as most of the things are searchable as well. And then we have Called by the Grave and triple copies of Crossout, as this is, you know, your ways of winning the game going turn 1. You want the highest chances of pulling off the combo without your opponent having a hand trap. And then the one card that you need to pull off the FTK is, of course, Black Garden. Then we have Infinite Impermanence, 3 copies of the Xiangjian Sudden Shift, and then we got a pretty standard extra deck minus some of the cards required for the FTK. So Blending Advisor's deck, this is just for the Instant Fusion. You could also start off your combo potentially with going into this. Keep in mind, you'll have to do it at the right time, but if you use this card, if they happen to hand trap, you can actually absorb it and basically prevent a hand trap. So this is almost like another form of an anti-negation. And then we have, of course, Bush Balkan to pull it off. Then we have the Grand Duke. Then we have Baroness de Fleur. If you're not pulling off the FTK, this is probably your go-to card. And then we have the Virtual World Shen, and then we've got Dragite. We got 2 copies of the Qi Zhao, then 1 copy of the Mathematic Magma. Then we have 2 copies of Boxia, 1 copy of the Garden Rose Maiden. Then we have number 33, the Junator Transverse to the Switcheroo monster. We have the Link Haribo. Then for the side deck over here, I would say this is a pretty solid side deck too. We got more Nibiru's, Pangatrops, 3 copies of Lancia, Lightning Storm, Duster, Droplets, Evenly, and Red Reboot. But that's going to go ahead and round it off for the deck. And if you guys want to one-click download it, I'll also have it linked in the Discord. But big shout outs once again to Azneyes for hooking me up with this. I didn't even know you could FTK in this deck, let alone it's like a really good one, because again, at the end of the day, you can still play the deck normally if you don't, you know, happen to be going first. You could still play the deck totally fine, because sometimes with FTK decks are kind of cheesy, and it's good to see that you can still play it normally. It almost reminds me of like Monarch FTK, like they would FTK you, and then they would side deck into normal Monarchs, but this is like, it's just one additional card, which makes it so good to pull off the FTK, and this is definitely going to be a deck that I think a lot of people will be playing in the future, especially if they get any more support. It's already pretty strong. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and do want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh videos in the future, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, and guys, give Azneyes a follow, and he'll be linked down below. I'll catch you guys in the next vid. Peace!